The following is intended for mature audiences.
Hi, beautiful. This episode is sponsored by 5 hours of sleep and a dream. Contribute to the society by rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts and giving me a 5-star over on Spotify. Your support helps get this into more people's feeds, which helps me get closer to executing my gay agenda. Now, let's get into the episode.
Welcome to a world where darkness and mystery converge. Navigate the depths of horror and true crime and join a society beyond the ordinary, where buzzworthy topics, paranormal tales, and listener-submitted experiences blend into a realm of the unknown. You have crossed into a place where the unusual and the terrifying are just the beginning. My name is Ralph Anthony, and welcome to the Scream Society podcast. Hello, Screamers.
Welcome into another edition of the Scream Society podcast, what I like to call a variety show from hell. In the dawn of the Not Like Other Gays pack becoming Pride Month's annual jump scare, I have one question. Who exactly asked for your anti-Pride press release? Anywho, I hope you're all surviving the discourse and celebrating Pride Month in peace. This episode, I've got an iconic guest host, and he's bringing equal parts horror, humor, and queer representation to the conversation. You may have seen him in Boy Culture, Generation X, Laid Bare, Open to It, and a short film I recently reviewed and thoroughly enjoyed, Demon Twink. Please welcome the incredibly charming Jason Caceres. Welcome.
Wow, thank you You said my last name so perfectly. No one ever says it correctly. I'm very impressed already right off the bat.
I was on a little deep dive of yours, and I wasn't sure if it was Jason Caceres or Jason Caceres. Like, is there like a certain pronunciation of it, or?
In Spanish, it's Caceres because it comes from a city in Spain named Caceres. But usually in English, I'm just like Caceres.
So, like I was saying, lately I've been on this deep dive of yours, and I've been having an absolute blast. So, thank you for that.
Thank you for watching.
Absolutely.
Also nervous as to what you found, but we'll get to that.
Oh, I will get into that right now. Because something kind of pissed me off.
Oh.
And yes, I'm choosing violence already. But I read an interview you did with New Bro Mag. Great interview, by the way. And you shared that your first LA agent dropped you because you sounded too gay.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yep, she did. It was my first experience professionally ever having to deal with this sort of discrimination against the queer community. And it's funny because she was my agent in Miami where I grew up. And then when I moved out here, she also decided to open an office in Los Angeles. So I was like, great, I'm going to move out to Los Angeles and I'm already going to have an agent. Who does that? That like rarely ever happens. So then when she called me and she's like, we need to talk about your accent. In my brain, I was like, oh, maybe I sound too Cuban or too Miami or, okay, well, I can work on that. She's like, no, it's the gay in your voice. We need to get rid of it because it's not marketable and you'll never work.
Ouch.
It's like, okay, well, I feel like maybe creatively we're at a cross point, not like a crossroad, and we should not continue working together. She didn't take that very well. She proceeded to drop me and then tell everyone that I was an untalented actor. She got her feelings hurt, all because I was like, you're incorrect. This is actually slightly homophobic and not something I want to be associated with.
I mean, but look where you are now. You're an icon.
I wouldn't go that far, but I'll take it. Thank you.
So I do want to go back in time, long before you were Cassidy trying to survive what I would consider the hottest hotel stay in Laid Bare, and before you were the first unfortunate sacrifice in Demon Twink. How old were you when you were introduced to horror and all things creepy, and what is your favorite scary movie?
Oh God. So I grew up with about 64 cousins. So my earliest memory of being horrified by a scary movie I think I was like 6 or 7, and my cousins, this was at a family party. My cousins decided it would be a good idea to sit me down to watch Leprechaun, and they were kind of mischievous about it. Like they knew what they were doing. They wanted to scare the shit out of me. And my parents were like, "Oh, Leprechaun sounds like a fun movie. Sure, you kids go in the other room, have fun. We'll be out here drinking with the adults." I ran out of that room terrified, like so quickly. And like watching it back now, it's such a campy film and it's not really that scary. But as like a 6, 7-year-old, I could not sleep. I had recurring nightmares. My cousins were laughing at me because they were all older. So that is the earliest memory I have of being horrified. And then they did it again with Friday the 13th. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I'm scarred.
Okay, so fun little fact here. One of the scariest movies for me growing up was actually Leprechaun as well.
No way.
And yes, I think it was because of the prosthetics that they used on Warwick Davis, but I mean, I think like to this day, it still does kind of like creep me out. But that's so crazy that you've said that because I've never heard anyone else say that. It's terrifying.
If I remember correctly, there's a scene where a woman is sawed in half.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the Las Vegas one.
That's when I ran out of the room. I was mortified. I mean, who shows that to a 6-year-old? I did not want to celebrate St. Patrick's Day for a very long time. I did not. I stayed away from scary movies for I mean, they still kind of give me like the creeps sometimes. It's just like the deep-rooted scar, all thanks to my cousins.
Same, honestly. My cousins tortured me with that film. And
yeah, Eric and Christopher, if you're watching this, it's because of you that I still can't watch scary movies. It's all your fault.
So a question I get asked a lot is, if I were in a horror film, would I be the final gay, the first to kill, or the killer? And my answer always is the killer. I do know that your dream role is to play a serial killer. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I've always wanted to. I mean, I've played the victim so many times. I'm always like the twink that gets murdered, or I have been the final gay before too. But I think there would be something so interesting about playing a character who's a bit of a sociopath, where like you don't know he's the killer, and he's kind of like methodical and reserved and a little introverted. But then there's this side of him that kind of breaks out during the murders, where we see the aggressiveness, the anger, and just the levels that you have to play in a character like that is something that I've always found kind of appealing. But no one's ever let me. But yeah, it's a dream role. Something kind of like Jeffrey Dahmer-esque, a little bit of a slow burn. Something Ryan Murphy would be great. So if Ryan's listening, here I am. It's just something different that I haven't played before, and I think it would be exciting.
I love that. I've done probably way over 200 true crime cases in the last 4 years, and I don't like to glamorize the killers in these cases, but there's something that fascinates me about why people do what they do. So I'm curious, was there any real true crime cases that prompted this dream role of yours? And how do you handle true crime as a genre?
I love true crime. So one of my boyfriend and I's favorite pastime is to watch documentaries about true crime. We love A Murdered White Girl. We it's like our thing.
Yeah.
I'm constantly yelling at the TV like, it's the neighbor. And then everybody's like, but could it be the father? And I'm like, it's not, it's the neighbor.
It's the neighbor, God damn it.
Yeah, I can't do the ones that are unsolved because it just leaves me like with a little bit of a
there's no closure,
like,
right?
There's no closure. I'm like, it's very clearly this one person and nobody's listening. But so those kind of like upset me. But I'm a huge fan of true crime. I wouldn't say there's one in specific that kind of like launched it. I like the mystery aspect. I like following along and trying to figure it out. I'm also very intrigued by why people do the things they do, as you mentioned, because it's always someone close to the victim. And it's like, what happens to get you to that breaking point where you're like, I'm going to murder them. They have to. That's it. They have to. I can't deal with it anymore. I'm going to murder them. The one that I'm actually actively following, we don't know if it's a murder, or we don't know if she's around, but the disappearance of Amy Bradley on the cruise ship, that one's intriguing to me because there's no end. Was she murdered? Was she like sold into some sort of sex slavery? Someone needs to help her. Why aren't we looking for her actively? Like, maybe they are. Maybe there's a case that, is hidden, but it seems like it always falls to the families and reporters to actually do the work. And this, there's no right way to say this, but law enforcement doesn't seem to really do much in these cases aside from messing them up. It's literally every documentary is like, and the police messed up again. It's crazy. And I get that they're overworked and there's a million cases, but come on. Like, how often are these cases solved by people other than law enforcement? And then law enforcement comes in and is like, we got him. It's like, did you?
Now, since we're on the topic of crime and murder, we have to talk about Laid Bare. I read in an interview you did with Out TV that your involvement in this project goes beyond just playing the character of Cassidy. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, as well as just give my listeners who haven't seen it yet a rundown on what it's about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Laid Bare is a kind of Agatha Christie-esque murder mystery that's set in a nudist resort. It's all queer. Most of the cast and crew were also queer, with the exception of like 2 or 3 people who were huge allies.
That's amazing.
And it's like a fun, campy play on like a murder mystery. So the owner of the resort passes away and leaves his inheritance to these 10 men that may or may not have been involved in his murder to begin with. And the premise is that they can split the money, or if some of them end up being murdered, their pot of the inheritance grows. So we deal with jealousy, temptation, narcissism, a bunch of themes that are relevant not just to the queer community, but to humanity as a whole. And it came about because Tim O'Leary, the writer-creator, is a very close friend of mine. And I had previously been in his first show called Demon Hunters on Here TV, which was a queer play on Buffy.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to check that one out. How did I miss that one?
It's fantastic. It's queer. It's campy. There's nudity. So it's got everything the gays want. And the prosthetics, the makeup, it's amazing. I played a psychic go-go boy named Alejandro. So that's where we met. And then after we shot that, he was like, I'm developing a show, a murder mystery set at a nude resort, and I want to write a character for you. And I was like, okay. I'm down. That's work. It's stability. We love that. So it took 3 years from conception to filming and launching it for the whole process to be completed. And he wrote Cassidy specifically to be opposite the type that I always play. So in Demon Hunter, I played a psychic Twinkie go-go boy. In Boy Culture, I played a Twinkie go-go boy sex worker. In Open to It, I played a Twinkie third for the main relationship. So it's always kind of like this campy sex pot character. So he wrote Cassidy to be a bit more understated, a bit gruffer, a bit more mask. So he just wanted to see me play something different, which I'm very grateful for. And we had a blast shooting it. We shot it in 9 days in Palm Springs in 112-degree weather.
Oh my goodness.
It was rough.
I was just about to ask, do you have a favorite scene or like day on set?
The rap day was my favorite.
The rap when it was over.
When it was over. No, the entire shoot was so much fun. The entire cast was predominantly queer. We played board games after we shot every single night. We stayed at the clothing optional resort that we shot at, so we all had our own rooms. It was a blast. My favorite scene, I would say, is the fight scene in the second to last episode.
Yeah.
because you see a little bit of a shift in my character.
Oh yeah.
Not to
spoil
I don't know how to
anything,
say this.
but yeah.
Not to spoil anything, but there's a different side of Cassidy that comes out that's a bit more aggressive and defensive than we see the entire series.
And there were many twists too. There were so many twists. It was really good.
Yeah, every episode is kind of like, I think I know who the killer is, but I'm not sure. And it was so much fun because it aired weekly. It was so much fun reading all the messages from people watching. Like, I think I know who it is. Is it this person? And I wasn't allowed to say anything. So I was just reading these messages and being like, you're kind of wrong. Or, you're so close.
You might be onto something.
Yeah.
So my inner Wendy Williams wants to ask the scandalous questions right now, but I won't. But
as you want to, other people have.
But as a show where the entire cast is primarily naked, and you all looked amazing, by the way, did you ever get nervous or anxious on set?
No, luckily Tim creates a very safe and welcome environment. We also had an intimacy coordinator present for the entire shoot. So if there was ever any nudity, even something as small as like a kiss, there had to be an intimacy coordinator to oversee that, just to make sure that everybody was comfortable. Plus, it's not the first time I've gone nude for a project. I did for Demon Hunter with Tim way before we even did Laid Bare. So there was already kind of a familiarity to it. And Tim and I have vacationed together. So there was no drama, no stress.
It was just like hanging out.
Just literally hanging out. And everybody was so game to play. One of the leads, actually, Ethan Corbett, was one of the only straight people on set. He played Alistair. And he was naked the entire time. And this is a straight man, comfortable with his body, surrounded by gay men.
Wow.
Just letting it all hang out. I think he has the most full frontal scenes in the show, and they were not scripted.
Oh, wow.
He decided to take his pants off for most of the scenes and was like, we're here.
That's amazing.
And he was very nonchalant about it. It wasn't like in an arrogant, conceited kind of way. It was just, I'm here, I'm supporting queer art. And if this is what's going to help make the project better, then my pants are coming off.
Now, just to pivot away from horror and whodunits for a bit, I would probably consider one of the most relevant shows in queer culture right now, Open to It, where you play Princeton, who is such a baddie with many hair colors. But why do you think that the show depicting Greg and Cam wanting to explore their sexuality further and bring a third person into the bedroom is so important?
I think the show does a good job of highlighting the different kinds of relationships that exist, not just in queer culture, because I mean, the straight people participate in polyamory just as often,
right,
if not more so, as gay people. It does it in a way that's a positive spin, because we see on mainstream media, we see a lot of what I label as like trauma porn, where gay storylines have to end in tragedy.
Right.
One way or another, whether it's a specific disease, an illness, a suicide attempt, which those stories exist and they're very important to be told. However, Open to It does such a good job of showing that gay people are more than just the sum of our tragedies. We can laugh, we have joy, we make mistakes, and instead of like getting down about it, we laugh and we learn and we move on. So the show explores a predominantly monogamous couple at the beginning who toys with the idea of opening up their relationship to a third person, and all the mayhem that ensues with that. And what I really like about it is that they continue to try to make it work in different situations, because they're trying to be open with each other. They're navigating this, I guess, there's this thing in queer culture where in our 30s, we kind of relive our 20s and early teens because we didn't have the same freedom as straight people do in high school to explore relationships, or in college to just be ourselves, try things out, see what we like, what we don't like. So because we're hiding so much of ourselves. So that gets pushed into our 30s a lot of the time. And Greg and Cam kind of work through that. I think actually Greg has a line where he says, I want you to have the college experiences that you were denied because of your religious upbringing. And I think it's so beautiful that we show a relationship that is so secure in its foundation that they are allowing each other the space to grow and experiment and figure out what they like as adults and do it together too.
Yeah.
Because just because you're open doesn't mean that like you're going around your partner's back and doing things without them knowing. Like you come back, you talk about it, or you do it together. And it strengthens the relationship more often than not, because temptation exists. It's out there. We're putting these boundaries on ourselves. You're kind of opening the door for someone to get hurt. If you're entering a relationship with the intention of exploration as opposed to mischievous, insidious behavior, something beautiful can come from it.
Absolutely. Wow. That was great.
Thank you. I have a master's degree.
Yes, education. So, as I mentioned, you do play a baddie with many hair colors, and your hair looks amazing right now. Like,
Thank you.
How did you survive all of that hair bleaching and dyeing? And
I didn't. So my hair was fried. They dyed my hair every 3 episodes, and it wasn't like semi-permanent or temporary color. It was full-on bleach and then color deposit afterwards. So my scalp did get inflamed at one point from all the bleach, because the first 3 episodes, we shoot them a few months apart. So my hair has a bit of time to recover. But the first 3 episodes, they just put in highlights into my natural hair. So it was kind of like a dirty blonde-esque. But then we went to blue right after that. And to get blue, you have to bleach the color out of your hair and then put in the blue. And blue is not a color that maintains very well. So we had to shoot that very quickly. And okay, this is going to sound terrible. I did bathe, but I couldn't wash my hair for the duration of the shoot.
because it would come out, the pigment, right?
Exactly. Then after blue, we went to pink. Then after pink, we went to like a deep purple. And then the Pride episode was bleach blonde. By purple, my scalp was red and inflamed, and we had to actually dye it twice because the first time the color didn't take, and it was kind of like a mermaid purple magenta kind of thing. But we had already done pink, so we couldn't. So they re-dyed it on set right before the first shot.
Yeah, that bleach inflammation is no joke, y'all. Like,
It was rough.
it's painful and itchy and so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and you can't scratch it because then you risk.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
And dandruff and
But it was a lot of fun playing with the colors. I set up a photo shoot after every color because I was like, I want pictures in this.
oh, I love that. Yes. Looks so good on you too. Now, as we just mentioned, the drag Queen Story Hour episode, which is probably one of my favorites because I love drag. I love the art form, but also because of our political climate. But do you think more shows should incorporate episodes like such?
If done correctly, yes. I think there's a place for Drag Queen Story Hour. It's, exposing the youth to different cultures, it's no different than bringing in like, a Bible study group to expose them to religion. Or when I was a child, we had cops come in and talk to children about drug use.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about education, in my opinion. And if it's done through that lens, I don't see anything wrong with it, because the more education you have, especially the younger you are, the more well-rounded, fully developed adult you become.
Absolutely.
And you're less susceptible to outside influences, to being radicalized. Like, the more access to education we have, I think the better humanity will become. So if there's a place for it in mainstream media, I absolutely think it deserves to be in there. If it's just kind of like, we're going to toss it in just to be performative, it does more harm.
Because there's a lot of that going on right now.
There's a lot of that, and it's done without context. It's done inappropriately. It's done just to say we did it. And like, look at us, we're inclusive. And then it's one scene and you're out and nobody ever talks about it again. And that comes across as like, well, why did we need to see that? They're shoving it down our throats because there was no story leading up to it. So you don't know why it's necessary. You don't know why it exists. You don't see how truly not the opposite of malicious, whatever that is, unmalicious, how unmalicious it is. It's just drag performers reading to kids. When did reading become politicized?
That's gross. It's kind of similar to when corporations and companies would slap like a rainbow on their Instagram photo. And although I have seen less of it,
there were a lot less Pride sponsors this year. And I think that has a lot to do with political backlash. But it's the same. It's like, a bank.
It's not genuine.
It's not genuine. Like you can't all of a sudden for Pride Month show up and be like, we love the gays, give us your gay dollars. And then the second July hits, we're like, bye.
Deuces, yeah.
See ya.
I kind of want to go off topic here, but have you ever done drag?
I've done drag twice for 2 different projects. It's not cute.
It's not?
There was one project called Real Drag where I played a drag performer, a first-time drag performer who was a Britney Spears impersonator. It was not, I looked nothing like Britney Spears. Those heels are horrible to walk on. Props to people who can do it, but it's not something that I could do recreationally.
So I do want to touch on the short film Demon Twink. As someone who is no stranger to being covered in blood, I have to ask, how was it playing? Was it Bathroom Twink?
Bathroom Twink, I believe, was my character's name.
Oh my goodness. How was it playing Bathroom Twink? And when you signed on, did you know your character would be sacrificed?
I did, yes. I read the script beforehand. We had rehearsals. It was a lot of fun. I got to be like the sassy, bitchy kind of twink that was like, ew, gross, don't look at me. And then the death scene was so involved. They had like a fake prosthetic that was attached to this tube with blood. So the minute is this a spoiler?
Is it?
I get sacrificed.
Wait, it was posted on social media, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. It's all over Instagram. So the minute I get sacrificed, there was a makeup artist right off the corner of the bed pumping blood so that you get that splatter effect.
I love that. It's so awesome.
So I was so down because I love stuff like that. I mean, and they had a decent budget, so the makeup looked amazing.
The prosthetics, yes, it looked so good.
It was fantastic, and I mean, working with Steven was so fun. He's such a collaborator. Like he actually, and this is not something that occurs very often. He actually like asks our opinions, what we thought of it, what we liked, if there was anything that we wanted to include. So props to him. And Chris Stanley produced it.
Yes.
Who I've been a fan of him for years now on TikTok and Instagram. He does all those street interviews. So it was great to work with him and meet him in person also. And he's such a supporter of the community. I mean, he's part of the community, but he does so much for our visibility. And I really appreciate that. So I'm really glad I got to work with him.
So let's say you come across a mysterious glory hole. A demon pops out and grants you a wish at the expense of sacrificing innocent souls. What are you wishing for?
Ooh, that's a good one. I am wishing for... I'm like, should I go for the Miss USA pageant answer and be like, my family's health and well-being, which I do wish for, but I mean, this is an unlimited wish, you know? I'm toggling between financial stability forever or looking like this without having to put in the effort that I put in, because I'm tired of working out. I'm tired and I'm not in my early 20s anymore. So it's exhausting and it's very hard to upkeep. So I'm toggling between those two. I'm leaning more towards financial security because if you have money, you can do anything.
Honestly, I'd wish for a fatter ass, honestly. And on that note, Demon Twink is available for free on YouTube, and you can catch Laid Bare and Open to It on Out TV now. More on what Jason has in store for us later, but now let's get into some true crime, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
This episode's 911 call takes us to Michigan and centers around a man whose name became attached to one of the most disgustingly horrifying crimes I've come across. That brings us to a man named Mark Latunski. And like most cases, he appeared, at least on paper, to have a pretty ordinary life. So Mark was born in 1969 and worked as a chemist. By all accounts, he was intelligent and had built a successful career for himself. At one point, he was earning well over 6 figures and was married with 4 children. Friends and family members knew him as a husband, a father, and someone who seemed to have a stable life. However, things were reportedly much more complicated. His marriage eventually ended in divorce in 2013. Afterward, Mark entered into a relationship with a man and later remarried. Over the years, there were also long-standing concerns about Mark's mental health. Court records later showed that he had received multiple diagnoses over the years, including major depression with psychotic features, anxiety-related disorders, paranoid schizophrenia, and borderline personality traits. According to his ex-wife, when he stopped taking prescribed medications, she claimed he would isolate himself and spend hours watching violent torture films. And despite those concerns, life moved on. Then in October of 2019, something happened, which makes this one of those cases that if something had been done sooner, I think a life might have been saved here. So cut to October 10th, 2019, a man named James Carlson called 911 after escaping from Mark Latunski's home. According to Carlson, he had traveled all the way from New York to Michigan after meeting Mark online. The two had agreed to meet for sex, but Carlson later claimed that once he arrived, the encounter became something entirely different. He alleged that he had been restrained in the basement with chains. Eventually, he managed to free himself using a butcher knife and escape the house. Now, despite the disturbing allegations, no criminal charges were filed at the time. James Carlson did not press charges against Mark Latunski because he was convinced that the encounter was merely this misunderstanding, so Mark remained free. Just weeks later, another strange incident occurred. In November of 2019, one of Mark's neighbors reportedly found another man who remains anonymous here. The neighbor found the man on his porch covered in blood. According to the neighbor, the man appeared terrified and was saying he wants to hurt me. And this was the 911 call that drew me into this case because it is terrifying. Take a listen.
Charlotte County 911.
I'm trying to get away from some creepy guy. He had me tied up in his basement.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I'm trying to escape from some guy who had me chained up in his basement.
He had you chained in his basement? Where are you calling from?
I don't know. I am heading near this road.
Are you on the...
From here.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Looks like you're on Tyrell Road.
It could be.
Are you walking?
Yeah.
Hold on 1
I don't
second.
even have shoes on.
3562.
I don't know if I'm still trying to go to someone's house. I don't know where I'm at.
I'm trying to put out a call. 62,
Okay.
you can start off for Tyrell. Just east of Morris Road. Had a subject that was chained up in someone's basement. Just fled the residence. He got on foot.
He's after me.
Hey, I need you to go to somewhere safe. If you can run up to somebody's house. Where are you at right now? Are you able to get away?
Help me. Help me.
6'2", he's running towards the house.
Right here.
Guy's trying to come after him. I'm trying to get
There's a guy
further.
out here.
Okay, I need an address where you're at.
Right now.
I'm trying to get it.
What's your address? I'm on the phone with the cops right now.
431. What's their address? I need their address.
He won't give me the address. Please.
Are you outside or inside somebody's house?
I'm trying to find someone to help me.
Are you in the road? I have some state troopers that aren't very far away.
I don't know where.
Are you in?
Well,
Where are you at right?
I'm at a white house across from like a barn.
Okay, are you close to the road? Can you see an address on the mailbox?
I'm too far away from the mailbox.
I'm sorry?
I'm too far away from it.
Can you see a mailbox? Are you on the road?
Yeah, I'm on the road now.
6, 2, and 12. He's running down the road, trying to get an address or a mailbox or something. So it's kind of hysterical.
910W.
910?
Yeah.
I think he's in front of 910 West Tyrell. Is that 910 Tyrell?
Police responded and treated the injured man, but get this, no arrests were made. The man stated the encounter was completely consensual. Then came Christmas Eve. About 30 minutes away in Swartz Creek, 25-year-old Kevin Bacon was preparing for the holiday. Kevin worked as a hairstylist and was known by friends and family as kind, creative, and outgoing. He loved music, loved making people laugh, and was very close with his family. Those who knew him described him as someone who could walk into a room and instantly make everyone feel comfortable. On December 24th, 2019, Kevin made plans to meet someone he had connected with on Grindr, the gay dating app. The man was Mark Latunski. At around 5:20 that evening, Kevin left his house, and sometime afterward, he sent a message to his roommate, Michelle Myers, saying he wasn't sure when he'd be back home. Nothing about the text seemed unusual. But Christmas morning arrived and Kevin never came home. His family expected to spend the holiday together, but Kevin never showed up. Calls and messages were unanswered. Soon, panic began setting in. Kevin was officially reported missing on Christmas Day. So as investigators worked the case, they located Kevin's car abandoned in a store parking lot. Inside, they found his wallet and his cell phone. Using information recovered from his phone, detectives traced his last known contact back to Grindr. That digital trail eventually led investigators to a home in Bennington Township belonging to who else? Mark Latunski. Now, on December 27th, detectives arrived at the house, and what they discovered inside would shock even experienced investigators. Mark reportedly let police into the home without resistance. Inside, officers found Kevin dead. His body had been suspended upside down from the ceiling and had been severely mutilated. Authorities later revealed that Mark admitted to stabbing Kevin, and he also confessed to mutilating the body after the murder and had consumed portions of his remains. The details were so disturbing that many reports chose not to publish everything investigators found. Now, Mark was immediately arrested and charged with open murder and mutilation of a body. As the investigation continued, the earlier incidents involving James Carlson and the unidentified injured man resurfaced. Suddenly, events that once seemed isolated began to form this disturbing pattern. So, following his arrest, Mark's attorney later stated that his client suffered from severe delusions and at times believed he came from royal bloodlines. Initially, Mark entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. His defense wasn't arguing for release back into society, but instead had hoped that he would spend the rest of his life in a secure psychiatric facility. So, over the next several years, experts evaluated whether Mark was mentally competent to stand trial. Eventually, the courts determined that he understood the charges against him and was capable of participating in his own defense. In the year 2022, rather than proceed to trial, Mark Latunski just pleaded guilty. During the proceedings, those involved in the case noted something chilling, that despite admitting responsibility, he never expressed remorse for Kevin's murder. In the end, the judge sentenced Mark Latunski to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And for Kevin's family, I don't think any sentence could undo what happened. They had gone into Christmas expecting to celebrate with their son, their brother, friend, only to spend the holidays searching for him. Now, if the incidents in October and November had resulted in charges, could Kevin's life have been saved? I do want to ask you, one thing that this case reminded me of is just how much like trust goes into modern dating, right? Like, do you think people sometimes forget how vulnerable we can be, like putting ourselves out there and meeting someone new?
Absolutely. I think people have this false sense of safety and security because there's this whole notion of like, oh, that would never happen to me, or, oh, that only happens in movies, which is not true. It could happen to, and you don't know these strangers, and nothing against, going home with a stranger and, having hookups, go for it. But you need to have safety measures in place. Like, my friends know where I am. They have my location.
Shout out, Find My Friends.
Yes. Share your locations with as many people as you can. Even if you don't fully trust that friend, just as long as, if something happens, the police are going to come looking and hopefully do their job and be like, well, who has his last location? And some, bitch you had a fight with 2 weeks ago is going to be like, thank you, but like... So,
oh my God,
sharing your location is very important. Also, some sort of like way to confirm identity is like, back when I was single, this is not even like that much of a security measure, but I'd ask people for like a photo with like a thumbs up, or like a photo with like, go hold something so I know like it's current and this is actually you and this is what you look like, because people get catfished all the time. And if they didn't want to do it, then I'm not coming over, because that's shady. Why don't you want to send a picture with a thumbs up? That's weird.
Yeah, that is really sketchy.
So, adding as many safety measures as you can. Also, don't go to strange locations. Or secondary locations. You never go to a second location.
Gay dating apps aren't bad. I mean, unless you're dealing with this endless supply of DL men. But like I say with most cases that I do, I don't want to put this message out there that we should live in fear, right? Like, this isn't a don't use dating apps message. It's just a protect yourself message, like you were saying.
Precautionary. Like, take the proper precautions. Do you live your life, but, be smart about it.
Let's take a break.
From the blood-soaked depths of late-night horror comes a collection so shocking, so scandalous, it'll make your wardrobe scream. Want my face on your chest? Or maybe you just want to rep the cult, the logo, the legend, the Scream Society? Don't just listen to the nightmare, wear it, rep it, live it. Get it now before it gets you. Head to scream-society.printify.me and rep Scream Society merch.
Welcome into Terrifying But True, the segment where I choose one random true crime, dark history, or paranormal case and do a deep dive on it. However, for this episode, I wouldn't really call it terrifying. As you all know, it's Pride Month, and more terrifying, there are still so many people within the LGBTQ+ community who are afraid to be themselves. So for this episode, I felt it would be important to cover the story of Army Colonel Edward Thomas Ryan, the man who came out as gay in his obituary. So let's get into it. When the unthinkable becomes reality, we find ourselves questioning everything, as some stories are too terrifying but true. Jason, are you familiar with this story?
I'm not, but I'm already sad.
So, Edward Thomas Ryan was born in 1938 in New York. He came from this big Irish Catholic family, and through the years, he was pretty accomplished. He became a firefighter, served in the military, and eventually earned the rank of colonel. So, from the outside looking in, it would have seemed like Edward had it all, right? But there was one thing nobody really knew about him. Ed was gay, and according to him, he had known that about himself his entire life. And we have to remember the time he grew up in. We're talking the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. Being openly gay back then could cost you your family, your career, just everything. And because Ed served in the military, there was even more pressure to keep that part of himself hidden. So he did. But somewhere along the way, he met a man named Paul Cavagnaro, and Ed would later describe him as the love of his life. The two spent 25 years together, completely out of the spotlight. Now, unfortunately, in 1994, Paul died after complications from a medical procedure. And according to Ed's family, he never really recovered from that loss. He never had another partner. He still talked about Paul decades later and hoped they'd be reunited someday. So fast forward to 2024, Ed passes away at 85 years old. And before he died, he left behind a message to be included in his obituary. After all of his accomplishments were listed, he wrote, "I must tell you one more thing. I was gay all my life." He then went on to explain that he was afraid of being rejected by family, his friends, and even coworkers because he'd seen how people like him were treated. And then he wrote something that I think is just devastating here. He said, "I'm sorry for not having the courage to come out as gay." And I don't know about you, but that line breaks my heart. Like, it really shows the weight he carried for 85 years. And he ended his message by saying that now that his secret was finally known, he could forever rest in peace. And his final wish was to be buried next to Paul, the man that he never stopped loving. So I guess this one is actually terrifying but true.
Yeah.
Terrifying because of what fear, shame, society can really do to a person over an entire lifetime. Like, he survived war, fires, and decades of life, but never felt safe enough to be himself. And what adds to the heartbreak here is that there are still people living like Edward, and why I feel Pride Month is still so needed. What are your thoughts here?
It's terrifying in like a real way. Like, it's more of like scared. That's truly scared for your life, more so than, I guess, I mean, a killer is scary, but like, this is something pervasive and persistent, and you're constantly having to look over your shoulder, make sure no one's watching you hold your partner's hand, or you're standing too closely, or because, I mean, the threat is still very real, and more so back then. That's sad. It's and terrifying, and kind of beautiful that he held on to that love for so long and still like wanted to be buried next to him. And I just wish that they had the opportunity to live their truth out in the open. And that's why community is so important, and how important it is to live truthfully as yourself right now, because other people weren't given that opportunity. And it's not something that we should take for granted. And I mean, the fight's not done yet. You don't even have to go out and like march in the parades if that's not your thing, or like go join an activist group. But if you're living your truth out in the open where other people can see, that you never know who's watching and who you inspire to be like, oh, if they look like they're really comfortable and happy with themselves, maybe that could be me one day. So it's the small things that matter, like holding your partner's hand at a restaurant. You don't know who's watching, and like, wow, it is possible for me to continue. There's so many people that are struggling with self-acceptance in silence, and you don't know what their next steps are going to be. So something as small as a wave or a smile could actually be what helps someone keep going forward.
I love that. Let's take a break. All right, so let's get into Ralph versus the Rot, where I react to your stories, experiences, situationships, and answer your questions while doing my best to give you perspective and or a little advice. Except this episode, I've got Jason to back me up. To submit, simply email screamsocietypodcast@gmail.com. My inbox is always open over on Instagram @screamsocietypodcast, or click the anonymous submissions link in all my bios. Remember, mostly everything remains anonymous.
Yes, give them to me.
This is where it's gonna get kind of messy.
I thrive in the mess.
All right, let's start with this one. I've got an embarrassing one. During college, I was roommates with 5 other guys. There was one that was curious with me because I was out and open, but that's not the story here. He's actually out and engaged now, I believe. Period. I love that. But the story here is that for a while, we would text, yes, while living under the same roof. The texts were usually flirty and sometimes sexual because he'd always follow those up with JK. I knew he wasn't joking. One weekend, my roommates were throwing this huge party for 2 of their birthdays, so me and Curious Boy made a pact to watch out for one another because a lot of randoms were going to be over. Well, we got super drunk and thought that was our moment to finally hook up. All we got to was making out because he was so drunk that at one point he was just leaning over me with his mouth open, moaning. I asked if he was okay, but then his eyes just rolled back. I figured he was just really drunk and needed to sleep. So I go back to the party, and when I came back to check on him, he was now naked and he had thrown up all over himself. And to make things worse, it looked like he wasn't breathing. I tried everything to wake him up, but he was just limp. I thought he had choked on his throw up. So I panicked and grabbed some of my roommates, and we all were freaking out, saying he was dead. One of the randoms called 911, and very quickly one of the paramedics, who seemed irritated, said he wasn't dead. He was just super drunk. Apparently none of us could check a pulse correctly. They took him in still, and it turned out he had alcohol poisoning. I felt so bad after. Yep, not one of my proudest moments, but I get to share a pretty funny story now. And a funny story that was indeed.
Honestly, I don't think, why is it not one of his proudest moments? He reacted to a situation accordingly. He saved someone's life. Like, you don't, I mean, he's not a medical professional. There's no way he would have known what needed to be done without calling the ambulance. So I think he acted correctly.
Yeah. I would have been terrified though if someone was over me in bed with their mouth open and like moaning. Like, I would think something would say, I wouldn't go back to a party.
No, I would call it a day.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, we're done. We've gone far enough. Here's some water. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. I'd say that's the one thing that you did wrong. You left him after he was like moaning like that. I think I probably would have made sure he was good. But I mean, glad he's okay. Glad he's out. Glad he's engaged.
That's progress. That's on progress.
Right? That's amazing, actually. Have you ever had any crazy drunken nights like that?
Well, I was in a fraternity in college, so yes. Yes, definitely. Never to that extreme, I would say, where I'm like in the middle of hooking up with someone and they puke all over themselves or, are panting and heaving. But there've been a few drunken nights where I wake up with mysterious bruises and, and then the night is filled in by my partner at the time or other friends. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember bumping my head against that dresser. But it's college. That's what those times are for.
Yeah. Living your best life.
Exactly.
So I got a follow-up to a really short submission that I got last episode. So I made a video calling this person out for not giving me the full scoop because the original message said, I should tell you about the time I was dragged out of bed and jumped scared awake after slamming on the floor.
Ooh, yikes.
So, right. That was my reaction. I was like, who would just send this? So I have a follow-up. So it says, hey, sorry, the reason I didn't tell you the rest was because I didn't think the rest of it was any good. All I remember was it was during COVID and being half asleep, living with my parents still. I remember feeling like I was slipping toward the foot of my bed. I woke up fully when my body slammed on the floor. There wasn't carpet in the house, so I slammed on tile. I had a bruised cheek and was just sore, but I don't know how to explain why that happened. My parents' house always felt a little weird, but my mom never fucked around with that kind of stuff. So she brought in a blessed statue of the Virgin Mary, and I think that helped.
This is a Latino household.
No, my first thought, the Virgin Mary, like, yes.
Yeah, my mom had a huge statue of Saint Lazarus in our house, so that's how I know. Fully Latino house. They don't fuck around.
They don't fuck around. They do not fuck around with that. No. Like, where do you stand on like paranormal? Like, do you like believe it or do you?
The logical side of me doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
The Latino side of me respects it and has boundaries. Like, you know what? The room is dark. there was a random noise that shouldn't have been there, I'm just not going to go in.
Yeah.
It's respect. Whatever you got going on in there, spirits, do your thing. I'm going to be in the other room. When the daylight comes, and logic creeps in, I'm like, no, it was probably like a chair that creaked but
Yeah.
I don't want to be put in the position where I have to find out.
Oh yeah. I've never experienced anything. I don't think anything wants to deal with my trauma. So that's why I think I'm safe there. When I did the Epstein Files episode a few weeks back, I did have a little incident that felt a little weird. There was like pressure on my back and my mic cut out. And I had never felt like this type of pressure before. So I was like, am I having a fucking stroke? Like what is happening? But it felt like someone was like leaning on me. But I ignored it. I kept it moving because I think that's what you should do if you don't want things like this to mess with you. I always do try to find like some kind of like logical reason for why things happen.
But just in case, I'm like respectful and I'm setting up a boundary. I don't want to participate in whatever is happening.
Do not bug him. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Leave Jason alone, please. All right. Let's get into some of these questions. Thank you for following up, by the way. Now, for runtime purposes, we can't do all of these, but I mean, that means you're just going to have to come back.
I'm down.
All right. So this one asks, what's a major horror franchise you'd want to be a part of? I mean, I'm going to go first because I think mine is obvious.
Okay, so Scream.
Yeah, Scream. I think that's why I like had so much fun with Laid Bare because I love whodunits.
I can see that. Mine, I think, would be Final Destination.
Ooh.
I would be curious to see what crazy way the creators come up with to kill my character off.
Yes.
I feel like I would want to have a very gruesome, out of nowhere death that no one sees coming, because some of these deaths they come up with are so creative. It's Final Destination is so the reason why I change lanes anytime I see any.
Oh my God. Yes.
It's like millennial scarring. We all pull over if we see a log truck. We're like, nope,
yes.
not happening today. We all saw that movie. So I'd be curious to see what kind of trauma I could leave the next generation with.
Yeah. Or you could actually be the one who has the premonitions, because I feel like they usually like end up with like the biggest deaths at the very end.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the person who has the premonition's best friend.
There you go.
Who's like the second to last to die. And it's like gruesome, like we didn't expect it. We hoped they would make it, but nope, here it is. Your head got chopped off by a random thing.
This one's actually interesting. Which of your roles do you feel most like, and which one of your roles would you date? That's an interesting one. I would date Cassidy. I said it.
You would date Cassidy?
He was just a chill ass athlete. Like he was, yeah.
Yeah.
He was it for me.
I think I would date Cassidy. He's grounded. He's got money.
Yeah.
He's an athlete. He's in shape. Which one am I most like? I don't know. It's a hard one. I play a lot of messy twinks. I would say in demeanor, I'm most like, oh, yikes. That's a hard one. I think I'm most like, I just did a movie called A Love Like This on Amazon Prime with Emmanuel Shrieky and Hayes MacArthur. I would say I'm most like Greg, that character, because he was kind of like himself, silly, romantic, comedic relief. He was devoted to his partner. Yeah, I would say that one. And I would date Cassidy. Well, and Princeton for fun, because he seems like...
Yeah, oh my God, I forgot about Princeton the baddie. Okay.
Yeah. Princeton for fun. Especially if we're just dating and it's not like super serious. I feel like he would get me in some situations that I would have stories to talk about for years.
And he's just like so bold, that character.
Yes.
All right. So this one says, do you get offended by, oh my God, this is great. Do you get offended by the bigot bitches calling Pride Month Pride D Month? Have you seen that? The Pride D Month?
I have. I'm not offended at all. I mean, we used it as part of the Demon Twink promos for a few.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. It's pride demon twink.
Yes.
I'm not offended. It's, if anything, they're offended by us. So why give them the time of day?
Yeah.
And you never really achieve anything when you argue with someone who's fundamentally the opposite of what you are, and like just disagrees, and like their core values are just different and opposed to everything you believe in. So I don't waste my time or my breath arguing with those people. I encourage them to argue in my comments because it provides engagement and we get paid per view.
Boost engagement. Yes, we love that.
If you want to go into my comment section and, you know, spout your vitriol, go for it, because I know there's other people that are going to come to the defense and then they'll argue back. And meanwhile, my views are increasing. So thank you for the rent money.
As far as like my stance on that, I mean, have you seen the cover art for my podcast? Like I take anything like that and just run with it. You can make content with it. You can be creative with it. And I mean, it's just them projecting pretty much. And I don't know, like, I feel like life is so serious yet so unserious. Like, since COVID, I've just turned everything into fucking satire at this point. Like, it's the
best way to handle it, to be honest. I mean, the amount of time that these people spend thinking about what we do in bed is kind of concerning.
They think about it more than I do.
Because I know plenty of straight people that are fully 100% straight, and they are not concerned at all with my behavior or my colleagues' behavior or what we do. They don't care. They're actually like, you know what? Do you. Go for it. If it makes you happy, it's not interfering with my life. So why are they so upset? I don't, there's something deeper.
Yep. Okay. I think this next one's going to give away the sender, but this one asks, what was it like working with the talented, brilliant, incredible actor Ben L. Cohen?
I wonder who sent that in. Ben is amazing. Ben is so transformational. He took that role. Ben played the demon.
Yes.
In Demon Twink with the green makeup and the horns and the teeth.
Ate that role up.
He delivered. That's like Meryl Streep status delivery.
Yes.
He is so much fun to work with. He's a blast. He's very talented, very openly queer, which I always appreciate. And so down to play and make a fool out of himself for the benefit of a project.
Yes.
And I mean, this anonymous sender, whoever sent it in, if you ever get the chance to work or meet Ben, or work with Ben or meet him, take it, because he's a very interesting individual to talk to. Yeah. It was, and I mean, props to him for being in that wardrobe and makeup the entire shoot. I would have probably not handle it as gracefully because I get real sweaty. I'm a little bit of a sweaty bitch. He was like in a full-on suit, green makeup, fake teeth, fake horns, heels, and he delivered. Ben,
if you're listening, I just want to chat.
Yes. Shout out, Ben.
Shout out, Ben. Most awkward audition or interview?
Oh, God, where do I even start? I've been doing this for so long. The most awkward audition, I would say, one of my first ones, one of the first roles I booked out here was Criminal Minds on CBS. I auditioned for that show 7 times before I actually got it. Gosh. And the first audition was for a role with no lines, but there was like actions, that you had to act out. But I was like, I had just landed in LA. This was my 2nd month being here. And I was like, well, there's no lines. So I guess I don't have to, I guess I just show up and I don't prepare anything. So I didn't prepare a single thing because I was like, there's no lines. It was stupid new actor. So I show up and the casting director is like, okay, on action, we're just going to go for it. And I was like,
go for what?
Like, the scene. And I was like, what scene? They're like, were you not sent the scene? And I was like, yeah, there's no dialogue. And they're like, there's what? There's still a scene that you have to act out. I was like, oh, I need a moment. So that was kind of awkward in that way. Another way to go completely opposite, I kind of misread the room at one point, and I was auditioning for a film where the character had to be fully naked. And the audition instructions, and this is the polar opposite of my first story. The audition instructions were to just, at your comfort level, perform the scene, you know? So I was like, you know what? I have previously not done this. So for this one, I'm going to commit. And I got fully naked in the room. And I guess that is not kosher.
At least it shows you were committed. I mean...
It's like, I don't know. What do you want? You said at your comfort level. I'm comfortable. So the audition is out there somewhere. I'm sure there's some casting director has it and laughs about it every once in a while. But you never know what you're supposed to do as an actor. You know, it's like, you get a scene with no lines. So I do the scene. Okay. Then you get a scene where you're supposed to do something. And you're like, so I'm going to do it. And they're like, no, but you shouldn't actually do it. You have to act it. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I give up. So
they just like wanted you to do that with clothes on then, right? And you just thought, let me just go all in, or?
Like, take your shirt off only and pretend like you took
it off
and like act like, you know, but I was like, if we're in the scene, we're going to fucking do it. And they were like, oh no, we didn't want that. It's, you know, it's a goes against conduct or whatever. And I was like, but it said at your comfort level. So honestly, that's on them.
Their fault, not yours.
Yes. They should have said at your comfort level, but please do not remove undergarments.
Oh my goodness. That's so good.
I have so many stories. I've been here for too long. I've been doing this for a very long time.
Before I let you go, I always create a little game for my guests. So for you, I want to play something that I call Cut Deeper with Jason Caceres. You have 1 minute to answer at least 10 random questions that will help us get to know a little more about you.
Okay.
Get them all and you win. But if you fail, I'm hanging up on you.
Oh, no.
Not really, but I just had to use a horror reference there. Okay. But are you ready?
I think so. Yes, I'm ready.
The last movie you watched?
Oh my God, the one with Cameron Diaz that just came out. Outreach, I think it's called.
Favorite theater snack?
Popcorn.
One word your friends might use to describe you?
Extroverted.
Most used app on your phone?
Ooh, Instagram.
Favorite cuss word?
Fuck.
Something about you not many people know?
I can dislocate my shoulder on command.
Favorite gym workout?
Bench press.
Public hookups, yay or nay?
Yay.
Go to cocktail.
Martini. Dirty martini.
Most ridiculous rumor you've heard about yourself?
That I'm an alcoholic.
You did it. Period. Period. You literally had 3 seconds left.
I do not have a problem.
There's nothing like a good dirty martini, right?
Oh, I love it. It makes me feel so fancy and classy with 3 olives. I'm like, this is all I need.
Thank you so much for coming on and being just like such a great sport.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And in the short time that I've had to really like look into your craft and your talent and just everything like you're out here doing, slaying, you seem so fucking cool. So just thank you. And I truly can't wait to see like what's next for you.
Me neither. We'll see.
Oh my gosh. But for the screamers out there listening, take some time as much as you need to fill us in on what's next for you, and as well as fill us in on where to find you.
Yeah, so I made everything super easy. It's the same handle on all of my social medias. It's Jason S and then Caceres for my last name. So that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, but I don't really use it.
Same.
Because let's leave that for the teens and the 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't really have anybody to snap. All my friends are on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
So if you add me on Snapchat, shoot me a message. You can watch Boy Culture seasons 1 and 2 of Open to It and Laid Bare on Out TV. I have 2 movies out on Amazon Prime right now that I'm promoting. A Love Like This and Cutaways, starring James Duvall and myself. I play his boyfriend. And coming up next, we're working on a few things that are in pre-production. Season 3 of Open to It is coming soon. And Tim O'Leary and I are working on 2 more shows for Out TV, and that is all we can say about it. But they will be somewhat of a murder mystery as well.
I love that. I will be sat, whatever you bring to the table, I will be sat watching. So
Yay, thank you. I appreciate that.
a big thank you to those who submitted to the podcast. Make sure to get those questions and stories in. Always remember to keep it respectful and honest. Check out the links in bio on the podcast socials and support a homosexual in need by buying some merch. And until next time, I'll scare you all on the next episode.
Someone needs to help her.
Thank you for tuning into the Scream Society podcast, hosted, written, produced, and edited by yours truly, Ralph Anthony. Help the society grow by subscribing on your favorite platform and leave a rating and review. I always strive for 5s. Have a horror or paranormal experience? Want me to answer your questions on the show? Submit to beacons.ai/The Scream Society. Connect with the podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Scream Society Podcast. And until next time, I'll scare you on the next episode.